Hello and welcome to the Marketing Mix. I'm really excited to have Jeanette from Jet Black Squares with me. Jeanette actually did a Minal Meets interview with me the other week, and she had so many great tips about how to use your smartphone for photography that I knew I had to get her on the Marketing Mix. So just because, it's nice to talk to someone and get tips off them, and it's good to have experts on. So if you are like me and you don't know how to use your camera properly on your phone and you take good photos by accident rather than by design, this next sort of half an hour is going to be brilliant for you. I've listened to Jet before, and she has a lot of good advice to give. So we'll get through those tips as much as we can. If you have questions, don't forget to put them into the chat so that Jeanette can ask. I'm going to call you Jet because that's easier. Jet can answer those for you. So remember to put those in the chat if you're watching live. And before we get on to the session, we'll give you a date for your diary. On the 13th of July, neatly, I think, after this session, I'm going to be speaking to Bhavani Lakhney, who owns B81 Designs, and we're going to be talking about branding. So I think that's a really nice sort of follow-on from a session about photography. So without much further ado, let's get into this session. Jack, can you tell us a bit about you and about your business?
Oh, hi everyone, and thanks so much for having me now. I really do appreciate it. So I'm Jeanette, or everyone calls me Jet. I've been known as Jet for all my life, so hence Jet Black Squares. It sort of fits, doesn't it, really? And I run, Jet Black Squares, which is all about showing you how to take better photos on your smartphone. My background, I was a primary school teacher for many, many years, like way back. And then I had my own children, and basically the teaching didn't fit anymore. So I went back to my first love of photography. Retrained with some of the names in the industry, and I ran a corporate and commercial photography business for about 13 years. And then I realized that actually, do you know what? The only time I took my camera out with me was when I went to work. All the other time was on my phone. And I was also looking at my friends' holiday photos on Facebook were atrocious. Literally, they're going on the holiday of a lifetime, and they are taking pictures that are awful. And I was like, what are you doing? They're like, well, we don't know how to use a phone. We're not photographers. And that's where the idea about 4 or 5 years ago started. And so I started running these. And then I don't even own a big camera anymore. Literally everything is on my phone now. And yet don't own a big camera, so everything's on my phone. And I just love teaching people, whether that's, grandparents how to take pictures of their grandkids, or whether it's a big company, wanting to know how to take better social media photos. So I'm sort of combining my two loves now of teaching and photography. I absolutely love it.
Amazing. I can't believe you don't own a big camera. I mean, I don't own one, but I'm not a professional photographer, so that's actually blown my mind.
Yeah, it was just another thing to remember to charge a battery on, and it's bad enough remembering to charge one thing, never mind about another load of stuff. And also it's so heavy. Yeah. I don't need it. I'm going out and about, everything's on my phone, and it's there. So one of the first things I do just want to sort of put a little thing in here that's saying that, any photographers that are watching, I'm not trying to take away the importance of professional photography. You still need to, if you can, invest in your photography, in your branding shoots, in your professional photos for your website and everything else. What I'm trying to do is make sure that your filler shots, your marketing, your social media, your filler shots that you do on a daily basis don't look atrocious, that they can fit seamlessly into your professional shots at the same time. Just before I get lynched by any photographers.
Oh no, and you make a good point there, because you do need professional photos to sort of represent you and your brand, and so you'll want the nice headshots, and maybe every now and again, if you're launching new products, you'll get a photographer in to do a whole shoot for the product launch. But then it's not possible for businesses our size to do that every time, like to have those professional photos taken every single time. So we are kind of reliant on ourselves for a lot of things, including photos for our business. So it's amazing that you're helping people like me understand how to do that properly. And it's a nice little segue actually into my first question, which is, do you really only need your smartphone to take great photos, or like what other equipment do you need?
As far as actual equipment, I think, yeah, all you need is the phone. And it doesn't matter how old it is. You know, it depends what you're going to do with it. If you're going to put your pictures on social media, you do not need an all singing, all dancing phone. If you want to blow them up and put them on the side of the Houses of Parliament, then yes, you'll need a newer phone and also have some AI sort of software that you can use just to make it sharper and a bit thingy. But look at the Shot on iPhone campaign. The Shot on iPhone 6 campaign, which was, I think, 2015. They were pictures that had been shot on an iPhone. And yes, they had used AI technology in order to blow them up and to do that. But there's no difference between doing that than putting something through Photoshop or something afterwards, you know? So as far as what you need to take a picture, yes, all you need is your phone. You need to start looking at things differently. And that's sort of like what we show. So when we do our workshops, most of it, I can tell you how to use your phone in 10 minutes, how to use your camera. But it's how to look at things differently. It's how to get a different perspective. It's how to work with the light you've got. That's the important thing, rather than actual physical technology that you've got with you. Yeah.
And I think the whole question about light, I'm sort of going to jump. I mean, I know I'm positioned here, so this is my spare bedroom that doubles as my office, but I purposely put the desk in front of the window because I knew I was going to be doing, when I started working for myself, that I was going to be doing a lot of things like webinars, and I wanted to create videos and things. So this actually really is a good place, apart from when it's winter and it starts to get darker. So I need to sort that out. But so is there anything else? Because I know in my previous life, when I was marketing manager for different companies, I actually did photo shoots with photographers, and I invariably always used to end up holding the reflector. I'm doing this, but the reflector. So are there other bits and pieces that we perhaps need to buy, or there are things around the house that we could use that would help?
Well, funny you said about a reflector, because actually, here is my homemade reflector. This is basically a cereal box covered in tin foil.
Amazing.
The difference.
Oh, it does make a huge difference.
That is, I mean, obviously this is a bit extreme because I'm showing you, but look at the difference just through a bit of tin foil and a cereal box.
Wow.
If you need to buy anything, you know, I'm the tightest person out. If I can get something for free or make it, I will do it. You know, I'm not spending a fortune on anything. You can buy reflectors, but at the end of the day, what the hell are you going to do with it? You're going to store it somewhere, you know? So literally tin foil and a cereal box, and you can make stuff. Don't use your flash. Oh my God, flash is the devil. Seriously, turn flash.
I know, it really. I feel like even for me, where I've got, you know, not massively dark skin, but I feel like a flash just drains me. It flattens. It completely flattens the look for you. It's exactly the same as if you've got a DSLR camera and you use a little pop-up flash. It's exactly the same. Whereas if you've got like big lights, if you want to invest, you know, in some lights that you can use, I recommend daylight lights. You know, ones that give you continuous daylight. You don't need big gold flashes. You can get little handheld ones that are quite good. But, you know, if you have got someone who can just stand there or, you know, you can prop it up where you want it. Yeah. The most important thing, though, is to try and do your like shoots near a window. Okay. You've got natural light coming through. And I know you said about, you know, the light in winter time, it's quite dark and everything else. Something to really consider, you know, planning your day around when you're going to shoot. So you've got all this wonderful products that's just come in, and you're like, right, well, I've got a window in my diary, 12 till 2, I'm going to do it then.
What you don't realise is at 12 o'clock, you've got harsh sunlight streaming through your window.
Right.
Or the light might have moved round to the other side of the house. And, you know, so just have a look before you plan your day where the light is falling in that room. And that will be make a huge difference to your time, but also to the photos that you do as well.
So, does the light need to fall directly on the object? Or
you really want a nice soft light.
Okay.
So you don't want harsh sunlight coming through, because harsh sunlight will produce harsh shadows.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so what you want is trying a nice soft one where the sun's sort of gone round a little bit and you've got a nice soft light. If you can't do anything about it, then the best thing I can suggest is go to IKEA and buy some of those voile. I can never say that word, voile.
Yeah, me either. Is it voile? Voile.
Yeah. You know, they do really cheap ones, don't they? And just drape them over the window, and that will make your diffuse the light coming through. Cool,
amazing. That's even just the first question. I was like, oh my god, and I didn't because I knew about the light, but I hadn't quite got into my head that you have to look at what type of light you know, at what points of the day. I just thought, oh, you need really good light. Be near a window.
But yeah, you can see how if the light travels around your house, and the sun moves around the house, it will make such a difference. You go out in the winter time, and you got winter sun is beautiful, but how low it is in the sky, and how long your shadows are. So you can see that when you're just outside, and you know, transfer that inside as well. You know, wherever possible, try and keep your lights off, so that you've literally got natural light coming through. Sometimes you can't help it, you know, 4 o'clock on a Friday and it's chucking it down with rain and it's December, can't do much about it, you know. But if you can, that's fine. Otherwise, look at your white balance. So white balance is the color temperature that you've got on your camera and you've got in real life as well. And a lot of the time the two don't marry up. So I use Snapseed to edit my pictures. It's
I love Snapseed.
Oh, it's brilliant, isn't it? It's totally free and it's fantastic. Within that, there's something called white balance. And you can either cool your picture down or warm it up a little bit. It's really important, especially with products, that you're getting that colour exactly how it is. Because if someone's bought a blue and they turn up with a purple, they ain't going to be too happy. So you've got to make sure those colours are 100%.
Cool. So in terms of smartphone, I mean, you've mentioned iPhone. I'm an Android user. And I know, like for me, I know that I had to buy my phone in a snap because the other one just packed up one day, and so I had to order something that came quickly. But I know that for my next phone, I want something that's going to have a better camera and have a better zoom. So is there a particular type of phone that we should be looking at, and is there a minimum spec?
I think the newer the phone, the better the camera. That's sort of like stating the big and obvious, really, isn't it? But yeah, you know, at the moment, I think probably Samsung have got the edge on the camera.
Okay.
That's not saying, you know, they all leapfrog. So as soon as a new one comes out, the next one will come out and it will leapfrog and it will leapfrog and it will leapfrog. I'm with iPhone for the simple fact I use a Mac. You know what it's like when you're in a contract and they just renew it and renew it and renew it. And ours gets handed down generations. So my poor thing is the last one, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's the only reason. And I know that mine sync together. So the most important thing is that you still got to use it as a phone.
Yeah.
It's still got to be practical to what you want it for. So it's got to sync with your emails. It's got to sync with your diary. You know, even though for me, Rankin said he did a program on BBC4. It was like Bake Off for photographers, basically. And he said, you know, we stop thinking of your phone as a phone and start thinking of it as a camera. That's what I do. If my phone rings, I'm like, I have a heart attack because it's my camera, you know. But, you know, it's you still got to be on the practical side. So if it needs to sync with everything, then that's what you go down. Yeah. But like I say, what are you going to do with the pictures? If you want to blow them up and put them on poster size, But if you want to future-proof your camera, then make sure you get what you can afford, the newest one that you can afford. It doesn't necessarily have to be the latest and greatest one. As for Zoom is rubbish. No matter what camera you get, the Zoom is rubbish. It's a digital Zoom. That is the one letdown of a phone, I think. Photographers will be now telling me, no, there are many. To me, Zoom is still the weak point. And, it's because you can't physically change the aperture, the sort of distance on it. So you're zooming in, so it's a digital zoom. It's better than it was, but it's still nowhere near. They'll tell you that we've got 10 million times zoom. They might have it, but it's rubbish.
Okay.
So
don't feel so bad now.
If I went on safari, I would hire a camera. I would not take my phone with me.
Okay, interesting.
The pictures would be so pixelated, they'd be awful. Yeah.
Interesting. We've got Richard with us here today, and I know Richard has actually bought some of his stuff. He does wax melts, so I'm hoping that some of this is going to be useful for him because he does a lot of photography of his products. So, Richard, if you have any questions, do pop them into the chat box. Otherwise, Jet and I are just going to carry on talking because even though I've listened to you once already, I've just like the white balance I completely missed. You must have mentioned it last time. But yeah, I was fixated on the zoom on my camera, and obviously I don't need to worry about that. I just need to worry about actually knowing how to use it.
Yeah, it's better to zoom with your feet. So
Gotcha.
With your feet and physically move nearer rather than zooming in. Obviously, sometimes you've got to zoom in, and half zooming in is not too bad, but don't stand back and go, oh, look at that beautiful bird on top of that tree, because it'll be rubbish.
Okay, I won't do that anymore. So in terms of actually taking the photos, I know you might have seen you saw the story that I posted this morning. I mean, that looks great. And I took it on my phone and I took it this year, but it was completely by accident. So how do I get a really good result every time? What do I need to think about when I'm staging a photo beyond light?
Look at the whole picture. Look at your background. I know you took a picture of a plant, but if you were taking pictures inside, have you got your pants on the radiator behind you that are drying? Have you got the cat wandered in? Have you got, stuff like that you can easily move? Is the waste bin there? Just move it. So on the flower picture, it was beautiful. Just think, okay, well, if I move that way, I get less of the green and more of the flower.
Uh-huh.
If I get my camera just a little bit closer, so move your camera in, you can get a different look as well, a different perspective. So it's all about looking at perspective, looking at like the light. Also, before you take that picture, can I move anything? Can I move myself? If I stand on a chair, I'll get a different view than if I bend down. So it really does look at how you can change your body positioning as well.
I always do feel a bit under pressure outside though, because my husband's always like tapping his foot waiting for me.
No one goes out with me anymore.
I am when we're out walking, especially this last year, because I've noticed nature so much more, as I think we all have. But in my bid to learn more about the plants that are around us, I've been taking photos because I don't know if you've got this on iPhone, but on Google, you've got Google Lens. So you can take a picture and do Google Lens and it will search through Google for similar photos. So quite often I've been learning plant names and bird names by using Google Lens, which is
that's amazing. Yeah, I use the Seek app, which is pretty, take the picture and it tells you on Seek, which is really cool. It sounds quite intelligent as well, doesn't it? When you go, oh yes, that's a blah 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 blah. I knew that all along.
Rich has just asked, is it worth learning the pro manual settings on my phone camera?
No.
No.
Pretty much. No. I think they've tried to make it to be like a camera, and you don't need it. I will tell you pretty much the one thing that you need to do, which will override all of the process settings, and that is that when you touch on your screen, if you've got an iPhone, a sun comes up. If you've got an Android, either a phone or a sun will come up. Now, if you run your finger down, if you've got an iPhone or an Android where you've got a line that goes down the side, run your finger down, your picture gets darker. Run your finger up, your picture gets lighter. Or you might go left or right.
Yeah.
That pretty much does exactly the same as what all of those pro settings do.
Amazing. Gosh.
So that will do your ISO. Okay. So you touch on the brightest part, for example. It will automatically do the light for you there. If you touch on the ground, it will give you a different thing. So personally, I think it's a lot of faff. Unless you enjoy doing that, which I don't, then I wouldn't bother. I would literally learn how to use it as you've got it now. So learn how to, touch on the screen, underexpose. Make sure that brings the colours out. So if you've got a sunset, touch on the sunset, on the sun, underexpose it, and that will bring those colours out for you. So yeah, I personally don't think it's worth it.
Okay, good to know. So you briefly touched on Snapseed, which is an editing tool, which I have also. I've recommended it for years. I can't even remember how I discovered it, but it's amazing because it makes my photos look really good. So what would you recommend in terms of editing, and are there any other apps that we should know about?
I think the best edited photo is the one that doesn't look edited. You can completely over edit your photo and it looks awful. So as far as I'm concerned, you're tweaking the photo. If you've taken it correctly in the first place, all you should be doing is making sure you're nice and straight, cropping it if you need to, and just maybe enhancing the colours just a little bit, make more textures rather than colours. Do you know what I mean? And maybe, you saw the Sainsbury's carrier bag that's just flown in and landed on the grass. You can get rid of that. I wouldn't go too far with editing at all, literally. And also, unless you want to spend hours editing a picture, life's too short to sit and edit. My God. I can normally edit a picture because I know what I like. I know my style. I know what I do. I can sort of edit and post a picture in about 1.5 minutes, and that's all I want. Literally, life is too short. So I think that I would say do the least amount possible. I think there are some other ones. Logolicious you can use to put your logo on if you want to do that. I did use Photoshop Mix, but apparently I got an email saying that they're now discontinuing it for new people. So Logolicious is quite a good one. I have tried it. You literally just open up your picture, stick your logo on, save it, that's it. So that's quite another good one. Or Photo Room. Photo Room's good if you want to sort of remove a background. That's brilliant. If you want to do some quite funky, social media posts. Or your passport photo even. So that's quite a good one as well. But yeah, for me, you can use the editing tools within your phone. The reason I use Snapseed is because when I teach my workshops, I've got people that have got an iPhone, a Samsung, a Huawei, or whatever, and it's so generic and it's so intuitive to the non-photographer, and that's what I love about it. So it's easy to use.
Yeah, definitely. Richard's just got another question. Tips on reducing screen glare when shooting outside.
So is that when you're in the sun and you can't actually see your screen itself, or shooting as in you don't want the screen?
Richard, maybe you can clarify that. I'd love to know, because there are times when I'm taking pictures outside and I actually can't see my phone screen for the sun. So
there's not a lot you can do about that, unfortunately. Seriously, not a lot. So you either try and hold your phone like that and try and put your hand over it so that you can't, you can try and see it, or just take the picture and hope for the best. Really,
I've done that. I did that one a few weeks ago when I really love clouds. Love looking at clouds, and they're all interesting shapes, and on a grey day as well as a sunny day. And we were out having a walk, and we sat down on a bench, and I was like, oh, look at the sky, it looks amazing. Just put my phone off and went, I can't see a thing, but that's that. And they were actually really good. So.
We all can't beat a bit of cloud porn. We all love a bit of cloud porn. There you go.
So yeah, no, definitely.
It's not being able to see the screen. No, there's not a lot you can do about it. Seriously.
No, you can put a little umbrella over your.
Yeah, get a cocktail umbrella.
Oh, yeah.
You get your cocktail afterwards. I mean, you could get a bit of cardboard. If you wanted to, just put a bit of cardboard off, keep it in the back of your phone if you've got a phone case, and you could just stick that over, and
that's a good point.
You could do that. So that could work.
Or just point and shoot like I do.
Yeah, or just pray, as they say.
So in terms of editing, like you just touched on, you said you like this, the style of photo that you like. And I know a lot of people who are on Instagram want to achieve a specific style. So how would you decide on the style, and what would you do to consistently achieve that style?
Oh, that's a really tricky one. I think it's very personal, and it's got to fit in with your branding and your ethos about your business as well. So, I know someone who solely posts black and white pictures because that's what they want, My style is all over the place. I do a bit of flowers, a bit of architecture, a bit of everything. I don't prescribe to the whole, you must have grid looking fabulous. I just stick anything on mine.
Yours looks so good.
It's my job though.
I'd be worried if they weren't.
So yeah, I think don't heavily filter your pictures unless you want to. You might want to actually have everything looking in a beautiful sepia style, in which case that's your style. But it's got to fit in with your branding. It's got to fit in with the rest of your website, with everything else. And talking about filters as well, you can get all these different filters that you put on. That's great if you want to use them. Just a bit of warning though, because if you are selling a product, then you can't put a filter on it because it's going to distort the color. And like I say, if you've bought a blue top and a purple one arrives, it's going to, be a nightmare. So you just make sure. And then that means that if you haven't put a filter on that picture, but you've put a filter on all the other pictures, it's not going to fit in with it.
Yeah.
So for me, simple's the best. But it's entirely up to you. It's entirely what you want to do. I mix and match with mine as well. But as I say, I think it's just personal taste, to be honest.
Yeah, I think definitely. I with my Instagram, I don't put many photos up. I share quite a lot of tips and things. So my images are branded more than photos. And I kind of stick to my two main colours just so that people recognise that it's me. But yeah, no, with Instagram especially, the images and how they look and everything is so important. I've got my own personal Instagram that every now and again I'll post on, and it's all food, travel and gardens, because that's what I like. So for me on that one, I like the colours to be vibrant. I'm not a pastel type of person at all. I like bright, bold colours. So I will put a bit of a filter on just to bring the colours up. But I'm lucky because a lot of the stuff that I bake, if I take a photo of it, because our kitchen is at the back of the house and we're south facing, we get good light the whole time. So it doesn't matter whether I'm, taking a picture before lunch or after lunch. It tends to be okay. So that's really cool. Well, thank you for today. I think everyone's been a bit quiet, but we've had people watching, and so I hope you've enjoyed the tips that Jet has given us. Do follow Jet on Instagram because her grid is amazing. She is Jet Black Squares, and if you want to see. I'm going to say that all the photos that you've taken, because you told us that you don't carry a normal camera around, and I've been following you for a little while, and I like some of the ones that pop up, I'm thinking she must have a professional camera. But no, all of these are taken on her iPhone. So do follow her on Instagram. And this is Jet's website for you to check out too. I'll just post that in there. And I know you run workshops, don't you, for people to learn how to use their smartphone camera. So I'm sure if you go to Jet's website, you'll see some workshops coming up. But thank you so much for joining me today. It's amazing. And even though I took loads of notes last time, I've learned new things this time, which is always a bonus, right? So thank you again. And the recording will be available straight after. But if you have any more questions, Jet, if you pop them into the chat, I'm sure Jet will come back and answer them as well. So, but obviously, you've got her Instagram. So go and find her on Instagram and look at her lovely pictures. I think you might be there all day. Thank you so much, everyone. I will see you in 2 weeks' time with Bhavini from B81 Designs, and we'll be talking about branding, which again is a nice little follow-on from today to make sure that your marketing has a consistent look and feel. So take care, and I'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Thanks for having me.
All right, no worries.